2023's record-breaking hit film, Barbie, featured a sea of memorable characters, including Michael Cera's beleaguered Allan. Barbie follows stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie, as she leaves Barbieland and ventures into the real world in search of a higher purpose, only for Ken, Ryan Gosling, to tag along. Gosling was controversially nominated for an Oscar for his performance while Robbie was snubbed when she essentially held up the movie. However, she didn't do it alone, as Barbie features a star-studded cast of various Barbies, Kens, and humans. One of those characters is Allan. While Allan provides a few laughs in the film, and is attached to some interesting Barbie doll lore, he's not exactly seen as memorable. Between iconic moments like the Ken's show-stopping "I'm Just Kent" number, America Ferrera's heart-wrenching Barbie monologue, and flashier characters like Kate McKinnon's weird Barbie, Allan gets lost in the shuffle when he deserves a little more of the limelight. Allan is Ken's vanilla friend. The Allan doll was released in 1964. First introduced to the Barbie toy line in 1964, Allan is Ken's friend. Ken, of course, is Barbie's boyfriend in the storyline that began when the doll was first released in 1959. Allan's full name is Allan Sherwood, and he was named after Barbie creator Ruth Handler's son-in-law. Originally, Allan was marketed as Ken's friend who could fit in all of Ken's clothes. In 1991, Allan's name spelling was changed to Allan. Aside from being Ken's friend and fashion protege, Allan is Midge's boyfriend. Midge, of course, is Barbie's best friend in Barbie lore. Allan doesn't have much of a personality, likely because he is supposed to take a backseat to Ken. Since the toy line centers on Barbie, and to a lesser degree, Ken, it's not surprising that Allan hasn't spent much time in the spotlight. But, Allan did appear in the controversial 2002 Barbie Happy Family line featuring a pregnant Midge. In the play set, Allan pushed a stroller with their child, Ryan, while standing beside a pregnant Midge. The toy line was controversial at the time, with some consumers arguing that the pregnant doll sent the wrong message to kids. In December 2002, Walmart pulled the entire Barbie Happy Family line following the backlash. Despite appearing in such a controversial toy line, Allan still has little to no intrigue in the Barbie universe. But maybe that's the point, because kids are supposed to give Allan and all the dolls their own personalities during playtime. However, Allan is given a personality, and a surprisingly defiant one, in Barbie. Michael Cera's awkward persona makes him the perfect Allan. Cera typically plays soft-spoken characters who subvert stereotypical masculinity. Michael Cera is an excellent choice to play Allan because he rarely embodies Ken's stereotypical toxic masculinity in any of his roles. The actor usually serves as the rational counterpart to the more outspoken lead, like in Superbad. Cera is also usually typecast as a soft-spoken character who subverts traditional masculinity, which is exactly what Allan does in Barbie, which makes the character even more believable. Allan plays into Cera's wheelhouse because the character is seen as second fiddle to Ken, and represents a kinder version of masculinity. When Allan eventually takes a stand against the aggressive patriarchy the Kens cultivate, it's especially powerful, because of Cera's career. The actor has made his living playing sensitive men, and he's still successful, which is in stark contrast to the ideals of the Kens, who believe that aggression is power. Cera's dismissal of toxic masculinity in most of his performances makes Allan an interesting character because the audience is left to decipher how much of the character is reflective of Allan and how much is reflective of Cera. Cera has been disregarding gender roles since his Arrested Development days, where his character notably enjoys Take Your Daughter to Work Day more than a typical teenage boy would. Allan's masculinity is a welcome stark contrast to Ken's. He is miserable when Ken brings patriarchy to Barbieland. Michael Cera as Allan shouting in Barbie. Sadly, Allan isn't given much thought by the other dolls in Barbieland. He's not the star of the film, and he's not even a Ken, but he deserves more appreciation as a character. However, Allan is highlighted in the film when he meets America Ferrera's Gloria and her daughter Sasha. Allan tries to escape Barbieland by sneaking into Gloria and Sasha's car, which is headed back to the real world. When Allan is discovered, he explains that he isn't interested in participating in the patriarchal society Ryan Gosling's Ken brought back to Barbieland. Allan's disinterest in Barbieland's newfound patriarchy speaks volumes. Not only is Allan uninterested in the patriarchy, but he's also brave enough to admit it. So many men, and people in general, don't go against the grain and stand up for what they believe in. Yes, Allan doesn't directly confront the other Kens to express his distaste for the patriarchy, but he is brave enough to walk away from problematic ideals. Allan even helps tear the patriarchy down by the end of Barbie. Allan's dislike of the patriarchy is also very fitting for his character. He certainly isn't the kind of hypermasculine man that Ken's patriarchy would celebrate, so it makes sense that he would be disinterested. Allan's character provides an interesting commentary on masculinity because there are men who don't feel the need to subject themselves to the toxic masculinity that a patriarchal society often fosters. Often, these men aren't given the spotlight in society, just like Allan, but they still exist. Allan represents a meta Barbie joke. Barbie is full of Easter eggs. Margot Robbie's Barbie expressing an idea to America Ferrera's Gloria in front of Michael Cera's Allan in Barbie. As Helen Mirren's narrator says, there are no multiples of Allan. The lack of Allans in Barbieland likely stems from the Allan doll being discontinued 2 years after its release in the 1960s. However, Ken dolls continue to be sold today, which is likely why there are so many Kens crawling around Barbieland. It's also worth noting that despite being Midge's boyfriend in the original Barbie toy line, Allan and Midge do not interact in the Barbie movie. Ouch. Still, Allan's storyline is just one of Barbie's many Easter eggs and meta-jokes. Allan may think he got the short end of the stick, but in the film's plot, he gets a lot more screen time than other discontinued Barbie dolls, including Growing Up Skipper, Video Girl Barbie, and Sugar Daddy Ken. While the discontinued dolls are played for laughs, the most poignant Barbie meta-reference is to Ruth Handler, the creator of the doll. Stereotypical Barbie has a conversation with Ruth, and through this interaction, she decides to become a real woman. Allan didn't get such an opportunity, but maybe he will if Barbie ever gets a sequel.